everyone, it's Jay.
And Sean.
And we've got part 2 in our movie soundtrack series. So previously we were discussing movie scores and movie soundtracks and the best movie songs. And of course, there are many.
Lots.
So we have narrowed it down to just the ones that we listen to quite often in our own home. So let's get it started because there are a few. First, let's do Moana.
Moana.
Because it'll be quick and easy because I already talked about this one because we already did our big Disney soundtracks.
That's right.
Because I have a lot of Disney. I love Moana. I think I called Moana my #1. It is hard to even say #1 because I love them all.
You love them all.
But Moana is kind of special. Is it because Lin-Manuel Miranda came in and did fantastic songs and lyrics?
Yeah, maybe.
He worked with Mancina and Opetaia Foa'i, who is wonderful, brought such a wonderful South Pacific flavor into it. It really gives you a sense of place and culture.
Yeah, it does. It really does work.
Yes.
And it feels authentic.
It does feel authentic. I mean, they did. They brought in lots of musicians and choirs, and a whole bunch of people were singing on this album and collaborating. And I just think every song is my favorite song.
Yeah, and that's... But we went to Hawaii right around the time this came out.
We did.
And it was a little early for all these songs to be playing all the time everywhere, but they would fit right in with all of the other classic songs that you hear all the time everywhere. So
You're Welcome was a favorite of mine. That's the one that Dwayne Johnson sings, Maui. And Dwayne Johnson is not a classically trained singer, but they wrote this for him, obviously. They wrote a song that he could sing, and I think he sounds really good.
He sounds really good.
I love it because my little nephew Jack loved it and would just break out into this song randomly. And so it made me smile every time he sang it, every time I hear it now. He's, you know, a very mature 6-year-old now, so.
With his own rock band and stage.
That's right. So I do like remembering him when he was just a little feller. And he could only remember 2 or 3 words in a whole song.
Like You're Welcome.
Yes. I also love the Shiny One,
yes.
which Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote, but he wrote it after listening to A Flight of the Conchords, which Jermaine Clement was part of, did a tribute to David Bowie. So it is a tribute to Flight of the Conchords, tributing David Bowie, and you do get those flavors.
Absolutely.
Like, it sounds Flight of the Conchords-y. I was surprised that they hadn't written it. Because of course they've done like Muppet stuff.
That's right, yeah. Britt McKenzie.
Britt McKenzie, I think you meant to say.
Britt, yeah.
Yes. Anyways, I love that one. Whew. I was a little mad that it was not the top-selling album of its year. It was eclipsed by both Suicide Squad.
Come on.
If you watched the previous one, you know I called that one out for just being a nonsensical tirade of pop songs, which it was.
It was.
That's not just my
That
opinion.
was the whole movie. That's all it consisted of.
That's all it was. And Trolls.
Oh no.
Well, you know.
Trolls is more forgivable, but
yeah, a little bit
Moana
more.
is
and Jack did love that song too.
Yeah, he did. But Moana is going to be around for a lot longer.
For a lot, yes. #2, I'm going to go ahead and say The Greatest Showman.
Oh yeah.
I think I've talked about this one before too. I can't stop talking about this one. I'm kind of obsessed with the movie and with the album. Again, every song is my favorite song. Sean puts this one on all the time because he knows how happy it makes me.
Well, you have watched that repeatedly on Netflix and just fast forwarded to the next song.
It's true, but like every song is good.
It is.
And it reminds you, like, Hugh Jackman is good, of course, he's got a great voice, but everyone in the cast has a great voice.
Zendaya,
yes. So,
Rebecca Ferguson, the whole gang.
The whole gang. And it was the best-selling album in the UK in 2018. Not the best-selling soundtrack.
Oh.
The best-selling album.
Just period.
Yes. And this, even the movie was a sleeper hit. Like, it came out and like, it was warmly received by critics, warmly received by audience, but the audience went home and told all their friends, this is actually a really good movie. And that movie stayed in theaters forever.
Yeah, which is really rare now.
Forever, yes, it really is. Just because word of mouth, people just kept saying, no, you actually, like, for some reason, it wasn't made that big of a deal of, but it just kept accumulating and accumulating. So it actually finished the year very strong, having made a lot of money.
You're right, because it wasn't number one, but it was like number, as if.
I know. Number 3, and these are not in any real order, of course, because they're all my loves, my babies, as you'll see. Once. So this is a little Irish movie that came out in 2007. Wasn't any big thing on anyone's radar. But it was one of those movies that once it came out, people were like, that's really kind of good, and it's kind of memorable, it's sweet, and the song from the movie kind of hit the radio. Unexpectedly, Falling Slowly was everywhere. So the movie, Glenn Hansard and Marketa Irglova are the 2 lead actors. In real life, they are a band. They performed as the Swell Season. They were a couple at one point. So in the movie, they play a couple of strangers who are falling in love as they write music together. So they're both struggling when they meet each other, and they're just like each other's muses. And it's kind of a great movie. It's definitely a great soundtrack, and it's even a great Broadway show.
Yes, it is.
We got to see this in Manhattan, of course, on actual Broadway, where it was fabulous. Can't say enough good things about this one. We liked it so much we saw it again when it came here in Ottawa. We brought all our friends with us because we just love this.
It's just one of those things that you want to share.
Yes, that's right. So these 2 composed the music for the film they were in. They performed them all. They won the Oscar for Best Song. And yeah, it deserves it.
It does.
It deserves it. So do seek out the movie if you haven't seen it.
It's very good.
It's very good.
And the music is amazing.
The show, the musical is great, and the soundtrack is great. You're gonna love them all. Okay, at number 4, Inside Llewyn Davis. So again, because I'm a movie nerd and I see all of this stuff, this is a film by the Coen brothers, which was a little bit under the radar.
A lot under the radar, I would say.
So, of course, I dragged you and Matt to see it.
Yeah.
I was like,
awesome.
Come on. And it is a wonderful movie. I 100% recommend everyone sees it. It's about a struggling folk singer, I guess in the 1960s. And it's kind of a sad movie because it kind of tells you that you have to be more than just talent. Talented is not enough.
No.
And it stars Oscar Isaac. So
before he was
Oscar Isaac, he was my boyfriend. So I do want everyone on the internet to know this.
It's true.
He was mine first.
Yeah.
He's incredibly soulful in this movie. He's got an incredible voice. He does his own singing. The soundtrack is produced by T-Bone Burnett, of course, who's got his finger in all those pies. And it's got some other memorable songs. A lot of the songs are like just known folk songs, so some of them may be familiar to you. It's just songs that have always been there. One though that was written especially for the movie.
Yeah.
It's not a good song, but
terrible.
you will remember it forever.
Yeah.
Yes, it's called Please Mr. Kennedy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yes. Performed by Justin Timberlake, who is in the movie, plays a legit character, and I think even more memorably by Adam Driver. He has a smaller contribution, but a more iconic one. Yeah. So you do need to check it out if you love Adam Driver. Oscar Isaac, before they were in Star Wars, they were in Inside
They're friends in this one.
Yeah. Okay. So here's one that's a little out of the way. It's from a movie, a documentary actually, called Searching for Sugarman, which came out in 2012. So it won the Oscar for Best Documentary. And it's about this guy, this musician named Rodriguez. And he's an American musician, but was never really popular in the US for whatever reason. But he got a big following in South Africa. I mean, this happens sometimes.
Sometimes it does. Yeah, for whatever
one
reason.
Random country picks them up and
Discovers, puts it on the radio, people like it, and off it goes.
So he was quite big in South Africa. Went looking for him because in South Africa at the time, there was a lot of rumors about who this guy was, and the predominant rumor was that he was dead. So these two fans go looking for him, and he is not dead, but he is living in poverty and a lot of people experienced really terrible record deals where the studios got the money and the artists got nothing, and he is definitely one of those. Come to find out, he was also very popular in Australia. But like South Africa didn't even know that at the time. I mean, when we didn't have the internet, we couldn't know any of these things.
We couldn't compare this stuff.
That's the thing. It was from long ago when we couldn't just Wikipedia him and find out where he is now. People magazine, where is he now? So it was a really great documentary. Obviously it won the Oscar, and it led all of us to rediscover Rodriguez as a musician because he's
super good.
Have some great stuff. It was not a coincidence that South Africa loved his songs. They are really good. And so if you've bought this album, as we have, it does say right on the cover, he's getting the royalties. Don't worry. He's gonna profit from this, which is good news for him. Okay, so now to the more conventional La La Land. Oh, I couldn't help it, guys, and I didn't really try. So, I mean,
yeah, why wouldn't it be on the list?
How could it not be? It won for both original song and for score at the Oscars. And it was in danger of not winning because it was competing against itself. It had more than one song nominated. So that's actually maybe not a great thing, because if that splits the votes, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And it still managed to win, which is great. Composed by Justin Hurwitz, who is terrific. Lyrics by Pusek and Paul, who are prolific songwriters, a little team of buddies who write so much of the goods. The original new songs on the Aladdin remake and the upcoming Snow White remake. And when they write for Broadway, they wrote the stuff for Dear Evan Hansen, which of course we've also seen and loved. So yeah, clearly I have a thing for what they're putting out there in the world. La La Land is a terrific movie. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are not professional singers. They do very well in this movie. They worked very hard, but I think the songs are not really meant to be like incredible songs. They didn't cast Whitney Houston, and it's for a reason, because the songs are really just a way to express their emotions, and I think it is a gorgeous way, sometimes a heartbreaking way, sometimes glorious, and I think it's a symbolic thing more than anything. So yes, I love all the songs. I struggle with the movie because of course I love the movie, but it did break my stupid heart. Yeah. So it's hard not to hold that against them. I do. I definitely hold grudges. I'm that person. Right? I am.
No.
But yeah, so I mean,
it's wonderful.
It couldn't not be on the list.
Yep.
That's how it is. The next one I struggle with even more. The next one is A Star Is Born. Okay. So let's be real honest with each other right now. I didn't love this movie.
I never saw this movie.
Is that?
That's true.
God
yeah.
Damn it.
I never ended up seeing it.
That movie played at TIFF, and so we often don't see movies together. But I think more than that is that I was like, no, I can't deal with this movie. And the thing is, this is actually the 4th remake of the same movie.
Yeah, and I've seen 2 of them, I think. I think we watched 2 of them together.
Okay. I've seen all of them. Of course, the first one is not totally complete. The Barbra Streisand one, Chris Christopherson one is, of course, I think a love of my mother's. It was way before my time, but she had the record of that. So, I mean, A Star Is Born is just kind of in the...
It always just comes back.
Mm-hmm. So it's hard to ever discount it. And people were excited about this movie. I went to see it, and I was kind of disappointed. You know, and the rest of the world loves this movie, and you're totally entitled to love it, get it. I just feel like instead of remaking it so faithfully, maybe because it was 2019 or whatever it was, we could have had a different ending, especially.
Yeah.
We could have taken the time to, say we've learned.
I agree with you, having not even seen the movie, but I know it is just basically a remake of the same old story, and that story doesn't work anymore.
I don't want that to be a thing, and I think we've made such great pushes towards mental health that maybe maybe we could have done a little better on this, and I was hoping that it would, that's the justification for doing yet another remake, is that we can give these people a different ending, and we didn't.
No, so maybe next time.
Yeah. However, if you are a human being on this planet Earth, you know every word to that goddamn song, Shallow, which both Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper performed. Oh my god, it was everywhere. It was very difficult to avoid, so it just kind of seeps into you. It was one of the longest running singles on the radio ever. Not just soundtracks, ever. Talking about The Greatest Showman, how it just kept being in theaters. This song just kept playing on the radio.
I'm sure it's
very hard to avoid. And it's also a kind of a genre...
Yeah, a little bit country.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bradley Cooper, again, is not Lady Gaga. He does not sing professionally, but he has a very nice voice and he plays guitar. But he was learning those things for the movie. He worked with a voice coach. And, a lot of people were working together to write these songs. There was a lot of collaboration going. Lady Gaga brought in her frequent collaborators, Mark Ronson, of course, and DJ White Shadow. But also Lucas Nelson came in. He is the son of Willie Nelson. So he is a country guy. So there's really...
very diverse,
yes,
broad spectrum.
That's right. Well, Ally, the female Lady Gaga, she ends up going, into a pop, a very, the sound that's going to sell.
Yeah.
And then he thinks she's a sellout. But Bradley Cooper basically said, his songs are kind of a country rock hybrid. But he said if he had kept practicing another year, probably the songs would have all turned rock. It's just musically where he was when they were settling on these songs.
Okay.
So, he is not professional at this, but he directed this. It was a huge deal for him, and so he...
Big movie.
Yeah.
Big movie.
Really big movie, yeah. So it did take home 7 Grammy nominations. Grammys. This is in the real music business, not just the Oscars. Grammy nominations. So, yeah, apparently they did a good job. Okay, so could we make the list without mentioning Footloose?
No.
Not with a Sean in the house, that's for damn sure.
Absolutely not.
I mean, you know what? There's a reason why this one kind of keeps going.
That's classic.
It is classic. If you've ever been to a wedding, you know all the songs from Footloose.
Yes. You can just put on that record.
Yes, that's right. That's basically all the white people request at a wedding. Yeah. It did spawn 2 number 1 hits. 2 number 1 hits.
Just 2 though? That's really, I think, another case of it competing against itself.
Oh, Sean. Anyways, I mean...
What are the 2? Footloose, obviously.
Yes.
Let's hear it for the boy?
Let's hear it for the boy, yeah. Okay. So the next one is more legitimate, let's just say. Singing in the Rain.
Classic.
Oh my god, you know how much I love this movie. I love the music. I love the album.
It's great.
It is kind of great. Oh,
kind of great.
Kind of right? So it's Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor. And of course, Debbie Reynolds. Yeah. So Gene Kelly plays this actor, this famous actor, who runs into Debbie Reynolds when she's just a young woman. And she kind of calls him a bit of a sellout, and she's a stage actress. But later at a party, she's like popping out of the cake. And so she's kind of busted. She has not been successful, but she's, you know, got a lot of pride. So he helps her kind of break into the movie business. So the three of them, Donald O'Connor plays his best friend. They kind of are together a lot of the time, working on the same movies. They're in the studio together. And they're just singing all the time. In the rain or otherwise. That's right. So Make 'em Laugh is one of the great numbers from that movie, which can almost not be reproduced. It was so physical, the dance number, that O'Connor was hospitalized after filming it. He was a heavy smoker, so he couldn't catch his breath for days. They kept him in the hospital after that one. Reynolds said her feet were bleeding on the set. Filming some of these numbers, she said, were right up there with giving birth in terms of pain and effort. Gene Kelly famously filmed that Singing in the Rain song when he had a fever of 39 degrees, or 103 if you're American, I guess. Also, the water, and like, it took 3 days to film this damn scene. I mean, worth it. Yeah. Worth it. But the water shrunk his wool suit. Oh, no. So he's got a fever. He has to look like he's having the time of his life. He does. His suit is like molded to his body, can barely be peeled off at the end of the day, and then he has to get back into it tomorrow. Poor guy. I don't know how they kept doing it, but they did. It's worth it. And so Gene Kelly is from Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Pirates play that whenever there's a rain delay. Oh, that's nice. Yes. Isn't it kind of cute? Yeah. It was also, I think, one of the introductory numbers at the Great Movie Ride, the one at Hollywood Studios, which is now closed because they've got that railroad Mickey and Minnie's. Yeah. But Gene Kelly himself approved his animatronic from that ride. So if you remember that one, too. Yes. And of course, perhaps most importantly, it is very heavily referenced in a video I know that you love, BTS, Boy With Love. Oh, okay. Yeah, they recreate a lot of those great scenes for it. They're big fans, yeah. Well, why not? Yeah. Okay, so one last album on our list, one that I cannot leave out. It is Labyrinth. Hello, I mean, you brought David Bowie in. Yeah, you're gonna have a fantastic album. Yeah. I love Labyrinth profusely. I love Labyrinth. I mean, it is insanely lovable. Trevor Jones delivers a great score. He also had done The Dark Crystal, so this was his wheelhouse genre, here. Yeah. He also did great stuff like Mississippi Burning and The Last of the Mohicans. You know, he had some really good stuff. But this soundtrack has some, I think, iconic numbers. David Bowie, Jim Henson kind of credits him with, he didn't do a lot of interviews and stuff for this movie, but Jim Henson always said he did better because he did music videos for this movie, which were the best advertising. Got all the young girls out to see it. So he did two, actually, As the World Falls Down and Underground. He did music videos for, and you probably know those songs. Of course you know those songs. Everyone's seen Labyrinth, right? My gosh, you better see it. It's so good. It's really good. It's so good. We're gonna devote a whole chat to it very shortly. So stay tuned for that, because it is one of my great loves. It came out in the 80s sometime, so obviously... I would say like 85, 86. 86, yeah. Obviously I did not see it when it came out. I was introduced to it probably much later by an older cousin. And then, like, my family, we were just obsessed with it. We had it at home. We watched it always. Even though those were the two big singles from the soundtrack, for us, it was always Magic Dance.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Anyways, I will spare you all the details today because I'm going to pelt you with them tomorrow. Oh gosh, I love this so much. Stay tuned because I think we're going to do a Labyrinth giveaway. Ooh. So please join us tomorrow and thank you for being with us today.